a lot of what you just mentioned there ties neatly into the concept of the artist, athlete, entrepreneur narrative that you're really, you're pulling the thread on at the moment online, aren't you? And I think when I saw that, that was something I really connected with, because I would in no way call myself an artist, but from a creative point of view, I have the three pillars of my life are creative output in terms of content, the business side of things, which is all consuming day to day, and then the athlete side of things, which is probably the most obvious one. And those three pillars could not move forward with the obsession that I have for all three of them if all three pillars weren't present simultaneously.
Correct.
I would not enjoy my day-to-day life if I was just an athlete. I would be bored and unstimulated with some things. If I was just put in front of a camera day to day and didn't have any sort of creative output on what the process was, then I would lose the obsession with that side of things. If I didn't have the businesses, then a lot of the bigger picture impact side of things that I want to achieve with them in the long term, I couldn't feed into from the creative side of things, from the athlete side of things, because they're all in the same ecosystem. And those three components for me are sort of what really underpin my mission and obsession day to day in life. So as you've started exploring that as a narrative, what have been your key findings, and why do you think it's got legs?
Yeah, I think it's great. Like a lot of people really resonate with that even more than obsession, which is interesting because obsession kind of turns some people off.
Yeah.
Right. As like negative, and they takes a while to see the positive. But artist, athlete, entrepreneur, it's like, oh, that's me, or that's what I want to be.
Yeah.
And you know, I look at the people I really admire, the people at, you know, the pinnacle. A lot of them fit this category. Like Rogan's a perfect example, right? His art, well, his real first art was comedy. His athletics, you know, he was a beast with jujitsu or MMA, whatever. And his business, I don't really know, you know, obviously he's crushed. He has all these companies now, you know, on it, whatever. You know, and he has a podcast. And the way I look at it, it's like, yeah, then you have, you know, Tim Ferriss, right? He did all these like different jujitsu competitions. He did his podcast. He had his nootropic business and then startup investing. Hormozy, right? Alex Hormozy, acquisition.com, beast bodybuilder.
Yep.
And his art is, you know, YouTube content, right?
Yep.
And you just start, you like make a list of the people you really admire, right? And if you're listening to this podcast, and they probably hit all these. And what really happens when this really works is you have these three pillars, right? And you take them and you put them into this one thing that can compound like crazy. That's kind of how I look at it. I'm kind of like figuring out this idea. It's like the obsession filter, right? You take the art, you take the athletics, and you take the business, and you combine it into this one output. So like Rogan, the perfect example is his podcast, right? He's the ultimate example. Ultimate example, because he did this for decades, right? His art was like comedy combined into podcasting. I think you're kind of doing that with YouTube, I'd say, right? That's like your biggest thing, right?
Yeah. That's the focus.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, that's when it becomes insane, when you just build this compounding thing around all these, and they all support each other, like you said. And they don't happen without one another. And yeah, I think it's really, really important. I think like when I look at my life, when there were things missing, it was because one of these pillars wasn't, you know, fulfilled. Yeah. And it's so simple, which is why I like it. It's like, oh, I'm missing this, or I'm lacking in this. I think that's why people resonate with it.
You can therefore spot the gaps in your own existence versus the person you want to be. And a real key thing for me throughout managing those pillars for the past several years, now that I'm much better equipped to manage my own sort of mental well-being versus a younger version of myself, is not necessarily idolizing anyone else externally, but using the person that you want to be in the future as your hero. Correct. Using the person you want to be in the future as the person that you idolize and you look up to and you take a lot from, because it can be achieved. And even a year ago, I mean, I'd say 2 years normally, but even a year ago, the existence I have now, if you'd said to Fergus a year ago, this is the existence that you will have, I go, a good one, not a chance. But it's time and time again.
Compounding.
Yeah, that's it.
Fast.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's like, and because how long have you been doing YouTube?
3 and a bit years.
Exactly.
And the first, almost 4 actually, and the first 2 years were complete diminishing returns.
And now you're going to feel this way, like every year, even more so.
Yeah.
As long as you keep going, which you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the empowering thing for anyone listening, or anyone that feels like they might not be where they want to be, is that just by committing to something intimidating, which can be as simple as a 5K, It can be as simple as just putting on that thing you've been putting off in the back of your mind, saying yes to that might be the thing that unlocks all of this opportunity that future version of yourself that you should look up to and view as a hero can become.
And it should be, I think, like, I like this phrase, like, just barely possible. It should be like pretty, like, when I signed up for this marathon in Memphis, like, I didn't really have any goals. Like, in the beginning, I thought I'd be like under 4 hours maybe. And so like when I started to get really ambitious, I was like, all right, this should just barely be possible. It's like, those are the perfect goals.